Hey everyone, and welcome back to the EMT Spot's Blood Pressure Podcast. I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper.
And today we're diving into something that might seem a little weird at first.
Yeah.
Why you might get different blood pressure readings.
Between your arms.
Yeah, between your arms.
Right.
Something that you'd think wouldn't happen.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be like the same all over your body.
Yeah, exactly. Like your blood pressure would be consistent.
Right.
But,
So why does it happen?
well, first let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Small variations are totally normal.
Okay.
Our bodies aren't perfectly symmetrical.
Right.
Even like your shoes.
Oh, yeah.
They wear down differently on the left and right.
That's true.
It's the same thing with our blood vessels.
Okay.
There are tiny little differences in their size and how stretchy they are from one side to the other.
So that makes sense, but I was reading that a big difference between those readings could be a problem.
Yeah, you're right.
If there's a difference of like 10 millimeters of mercury or more between your arms,
Okay.
that could be a sign of something else going on.
Like what kinds of things?
So there's a few possibilities. One is something called peripheral artery disease, or PA.
PA?
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, imagine like a garden hose with a kink in it.
Okay.
So less water can get through, right?
Right, less water.
And PA, it's kind of like that.
Okay.
The arteries in your limbs, they get narrowed, and that makes it harder for blood to flow through.
So that's why the readings are different.
Exactly. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Things like smoking and being overweight, those can make you more likely to get PA.
Wow. So our everyday choices can really add up.
Yeah, for sure.
So what else could cause those different readings?
Well, this one might surprise you. It's diabetes.
Really? I thought diabetes was all about blood sugar.
Yeah, it is. But over time, high blood sugar can damage your blood vessels.
Oh, no.
And your kidneys, too. You can think of your blood vessels like highways, and high blood sugar is like this constant traffic jam,
Okay.
causing wear and tear.
Oh, so that's how it affects blood pressure.
Yeah, that damage can make the vessels stiffer and narrower, and that affects blood flow.
Which messes with the readings.
Exactly. And here's something really important to remember.
Okay.
If you have both type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure, your risk of a heart attack or stroke goes way up.
Wow. Okay, so we got to keep that blood sugar under control.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got PD diabetes. Anything else?
Yeah, kidney diseases, those can be a factor too.
How so?
Well, if your kidneys aren't working the way they should, they can't remove extra fluid and waste from your body. And that buildup of fluid can increase your blood pressure.
Oh, I see.
And the tricky thing is, kidney disease can be really sneaky at first.
Really?
Yeah, you might just have like muscle cramps or lose your appetite.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, things you might not even think twice about.
Like our body's trying to tell us something. Okay, so P to D diabetes, kidney disease.
Oh, and we can't forget about heart disease.
Of course.
Just like with other blood vessels, damage to the arteries in your heart can make them less flexible and restrict blood flow, and that can lead to those different blood pressure readings.
Gotcha, and that can also cause chest pain, right?
Exactly. It's called angina.
Angina.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your heart's not getting enough blood, that's obviously a big deal.
For sure.
Now, what about atherosclerosis? I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, so atherosclerosis, it's basically like plumbing problems for your arteries.
Plumbing problems?
Yeah, it's the buildup of plaque.
Like gunk in the pipes.
Exactly. Things like fats and cholesterol. And over time, that gunk narrows the artery.
Just like PDB.
Yeah, exactly. And that can cause those different readings between your arms.
Okay, starting to see a pattern here.
Right.
Restricted blood flow equals different readings.
Pretty much. And here's a scary thought.
Okay.
If you have a difference of 15 points or more between your readings, it could mean those blockages aren't just in your limbs.
Oh, no.
They could be in your heart and brain, too.
Wow.
And that increases your risk of stroke and heart disease.
Okay, so we've talked about PA diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, atherosclerosis.
Oh, and hypertension, too. We can't forget that one.
Hypertension, isn't that just high blood pressure?
It is, but it's when that high blood pressure isn't managed well.
Okay.
Especially over time, that can lead to those blood pressure differences.
So it's not just about having high blood pressure, it's about keeping it under control.
Exactly.
How do we do that?
Well, there are things you can do, like cutting back on salt.
Salt.
Yeah, and alcohol.
Okay.
And just generally living a healthier lifestyle.
So all those healthy habits really do matter.
You really do.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of serious conditions, but there's one more that we haven't talked about yet.
You mean obesity?
Yeah.
Right, that's a big one, too.
How so?
Well, when you carry around extra weight, it puts a lot of strain on your heart and blood vessels. It's like asking your heart to work overtime all the time.
Poor heart.
And that can directly contribute to those blood pressure differences between your arms.
Hmm.
So it's really important to monitor your blood pressure in both arms.
Yeah, especially if you're concerned about your weight.
Exactly. It can help your doctor figure out what's going on.
It's amazing how much we can learn about our health just by paying attention to those little differences in our bodies.
It really is. And you know what else can affect those blood pressure readings?
What's that?
Things that aren't even medical conditions, just like everyday things.
Really? Like what?
Well, you know how you said just thinking about going to the doctor makes your blood pressure go up?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, even small things like that can make those numbers jump around.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So, like, what should we be watching out for?
Oh, yeah, tons of things. Let's talk about a few so you know what to look out for.
Okay.
First up, caffeine.
Ah, yes.
That morning coffee might get you going, but it also gives your blood pressure a little boost.
Really, even just one cup?
Yeah. It's best to avoid caffeine for at least half an hour before you take your blood pressure.
Okay, so no coffee in the waiting room.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Now think about how you're sitting when you take your reading.
Oh, you mean like how I'm feeling? Does that matter?
Yeah, it does. Even a little bit of stress or anxiety can trigger your body to release those hormones that raise your blood pressure.
Oh, man. So how should I be sitting?
Just try to relax, feet flat on the floor.
Okay.
Take a few deep breaths.
Deep breaths. Okay, what about the cuff itself?
The cuff, make sure it's on right and that you're following the instructions.
Okay.
A cuff that's too loose or too tight can really mess with the readings.
I've definitely had some of those.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Any other tips for getting a good reading?
Take more than one reading.
Yep.
Blood pressure changes throughout the day.
Oh, that's right.
So one reading might not give you the whole picture.
Makes sense.
Take a few readings, spaced out a couple of minutes apart, and you'll get a better average.
So it's like taking a poll, the more answers you get.
Exactly, the more accurate the result.
Love that analogy. And I should be writing all this down, right?
Definitely keep track of your readings so you can spot any patterns or changes.
Okay, but we'll do, this is great advice, but what can we do to prevent these problems in the first place?
That is the question, isn't it?
It is.
And the answer might not surprise you, a healthy lifestyle.
The classic advice.
It really is the foundation for a healthy heart.
So eating right, exercising,
Yep.
maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking,
All of that.
all the good stuff.
Exactly. It might sound cliche, but there's a reason we keep hearing it.
Because it works.
It works. Okay, so healthy lifestyle. That's a must. But is there anything else we can do specifically for those blood pressure variations?
Good question.
There is, and it's all about managing stress.
Stress, the silent killer.
When you're stressed out, your body releases all these hormones.
Like adrenaline?
Adrenaline, cortisol, all of them. And those hormones, they make your blood vessels constrict.
Which raises blood pressure.
Exactly. And over time, that chronic stress can lead to those lasting differences in your readings.
So how do we fight back against stress?
There are tons of ways to manage stress.
Oh, good.
Some people exercise.
Okay.
Some meditate or do yoga. Others find peace in nature or just doing something they love.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The important thing is to find what works for you and make it a habit.
I like that. It's not just about checking things off a list, it's about feeling good.
Absolutely. And part of feeling good is being proactive about your health.
So regular checkups.
Yes, even if you feel fine.
Including checking my blood pressure.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Catching things early is always best. But what if I do notice a difference between my arms? What should I do?
Talk to your doctor.
Okay.
They can help you figure out if it's a big deal and if you need more tests.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Always. And remember, even small variations in your blood pressure can tell you a lot about your health.
Wow, this has been so helpful. I've learned so much about blood pressure.
Me too. It's amazing how complex it all is.
It is.
Yeah.
Before we finish this part of our deep dive, I want to remind everyone that this is just for educational purposes.
Right.
It's not medical advice. Always talk to your doctor for any health concerns.
Absolutely. That's so important.
Okay, we'll be back with the final part of this episode after a quick word from our sponsors. All right, we are back for the final part of our deep dive on blood pressure variations between the arms.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. We've learned so much.
We have.
Before we wrap up, though, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Taking multiple blood pressure readings.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, it is. Why is that again?
Well, remember, a single reading can be affected by a bunch of different things.
Right, like stress or caffeine, even how you're sitting.
Exactly. All those things can throw off the numbers.
So taking a bunch of readings kind of evens things out.
Yeah, you get a much more accurate picture of your blood pressure over time.
So like taking an average.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it like this one reading is like a snapshot. And multiple readings are like a time-lapse video.
I like that.
The snapshot just shows you one moment in time.
Right.
But the time-lapse shows you how things change over time.
So multiple readings give us the time lapse.
Yep, we get to see the bigger picture.
I love that analogy.
And don't forget, blood pressure naturally goes up and down throughout the day.
That's true.
It's lower when you're sleeping, higher when you're active.
So even if I take a bunch of readings at the same time every day, there will still be some variation.
Exactly. Your blood pressure is always changing.
Okay, so how do we use all this information to our advantage?
Be consistent.
Okay.
Choose a time of day that works for you and stick with it.
Same time every day?
Yep. And take your blood pressure in a quiet place where you can relax.
So no checking it in the middle of rush hour traffic?
Definitely not.
Okay.
And one more thing, write those numbers down.
Keep a log?
Yes. That way you can track any changes over time.
And I should share those with my doctor, right?
Absolutely. They'll be able to see if there's anything to be concerned about.
Yeah. Awesome advice. This has been so informative.
Well, I'm glad you think so.
I really feel like we covered everything about blood pressure variations.
I think so, too. We talked about what causes them, how important it is to catch them early.
The power of a healthy lifestyle.
And, of course, checking your blood pressure regularly.
This has been great. I hope our listeners feel like they can really take control of their heart health now.
Me too. Knowledge is power, right?
It is. And as always, if you're worried about your blood pressure, talk to your doctor.
Definitely don't wait.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the EMT Blood Pressure Podcast. I'm Samuel Harrison.
And I'm Olivia Harper. Thanks for joining us.
We had a great time diving into the world of blood pressure with you.
We did.
If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
And tell your friends.
The more we all know about our health, the better.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.